right. Good morning, KW Milwaukee. Hopefully everybody's had a phenomenal start to your June. I think it's been pretty gorgeous. We've had plenty of water. But you know what? After a lack of snow in this winter, you know what? We could probably use the rain. So, you know what? Rain means growing. So, beautiful. So today, a couple things for the group. One, I have a little bit of a mindset reset because we're 76% of the way through the year, whether you recognize it or not. 76% of the way through the year, sitting here on June 4th. So I'm going to walk you through a little bit. Then I'm going to challenge you with something from on occasion over the last couple of years. I know I've utilized a lot of examples from Nike. I'm going to challenge you in a way that I think Nike is very good at telling stories. And if you're thinking about resetting your business 76% of the way through the year, I'm going to show you some examples that Nike has done recently to help disrupt a market and show you the impact that disruption has had. We'll go through what's winning, have a little bit of training, education, tech, marketing, compliance, and then we'll wrap it up for the day. Sound good? Beautiful. So mission, vision, values, beliefs, and perspectives. Two things or quite frankly, one thing I wanted to touch on right up front in the beginning is from a vision statement, right? Is we desire to be the real estate company of choice for agents and their customers. And in our community and amongst our KW umbrella, we serve a variety of different people across all different ends of the spectrum within our world, and how that lives within our belief system in terms of equity and opportunities for all. And how do we support all of those that we have to serve, all the agents that we have to serve, and those that are within our community. And in the month of June is Pride Month. And if you think about how and why people celebrate a variety of different things, one of the things that's important to understand is this is something that was shared with me recently from someone who talks about just business building, culture building. What is it that you're trying to cultivate in order to differentiate yourself? And at the end of the day, it takes people. It doesn't matter whether you work at Nike, whether you work at Adidas, whether you work at Coke, whether you work at Pepsi. And if you're hiring a coach, you're hiring a culture builder. And every coach knows the game, but can they connect, communicate a clear vision, recruit, develop people well, multiply their leadership? And can they climb? They can climb, but can they get others up the mountain as well? Culture is a competitive advantage, right? And so as you think about what it is that we do and who we serve and the dynamics of different people, culture and community is incredibly important, and how we cultivate that and how we do that. So in the month of June, celebrating Pride Month, and those that are within our communities, we wanted to recognize Pride Month as a way to say, hey, look, for those within the LGBTQ plus community, it's an opportunity for us to recognize them and celebrate them in their communities and meet them where they are and those customers and clients that they serve and how we help them and support them. And so as a part of our serving community in the month of June, it's a group of 8 agents who come together to provide philanthropic opportunities for our associates. We're collecting a food drive to benefit Courage MKE. And the food drive really, in working with Courage MKE and supporting the LGBTQ community, food is probably their number one need right now within our communities. And so in our locations, we're working to collect food items in the month of June, coming to us from the serving committee. Throughout the month of June, collecting food to help serve and support Courage MKE and how we as a community uplift the LGBTQ community in the month of June. Also in the month of June, the KW Rainbow Network is participating in the Pride Parade in Milwaukee on Sunday, June 9th, this Sunday at 2 p.m. If you'd like to participate, Zach Shipley is leading the charge on those efforts. So if you'd like to participate this Sunday, June 9th at 2 p.m., feel free to reach out to Zach, who's helping coordinate a group of folks to go down to downtown Milwaukee for the Pride Parade. So there we are in June. All right, with that, a few operations and accounting updates for the group. I could really use the group's favor. We were hoping to get to about 100 responses for the Village of Tosa survey for those that serve Tosa clients. And right now we're about 50. responses. 100 would really give us depth and breadth of that response rate within the survey. And we would really, really appreciate your guys' responses within that survey. If you could just help us fill that out. We would like to get them a little bit more depth and breadth of information, because part of this whole strategy, and if you think about this in terms of my view set, is development is important in alleviating our inventory pressures. And that development is important, whether it's multifamily or single family. Development is important at alleviating our inventory pressures. And so part of our participation in things like this survey, and I've done things like this in a multitude of communities across southeastern Wisconsin, is helping be a conduit to helping alleviate the pressure that we're feeling from an inventory standpoint. And part of it is how do we leverage our network to help provide information, whether it's to, I've worked with the city of Franklin before, Muskego, Mugwanago, the community of Heartland. Everybody knows my involvement in the community in Whitefish Bay, but helping them understand how we alleviate some of these pressures and some of the levers that we can pull within southeastern Wisconsin to help alleviate our pressures. And one of the most direct ways you can do that is helping us fill this survey out for the city of Wauwatosa, as we help to provide them very basic, simple data to help them alleviate those pressures. So appreciate your guys' participation and willingness to jump in there. Secondly, I know I've mentioned this the last probably 2 to 3 weeks in trying to help you alleviate or help you understand as to what we're going through from a software update. But we're going through a software update within Transactions in Command, and we are now in the thick of it. So from June 3rd to June 7th, we are updating our software in order to provide you real-time live data within Command. So last week, we asked that commission requests for the month of June be submitted by Friday, May 31st. Then just this week only, from June 3rd, really, quite frankly, till June 7th to the 10th, we ask that you can submit your documents. We just ask that you don't submit the commissions in command aspect of it. Otherwise, we'll have to redo it during the transition this week. And then once next week, starting Monday, is June 10th. Normal commission submission and processing will continue to occur. So we appreciate your patience during this time, and just know between June closings that are occurring between June 3rd and June 7th, there will be a slight delay in our commission processing. If you had a closing during that week, we did have someone on the leadership team try and reach out, because we are trying to prioritize those that need their money the fastest and those that can have a little bit of patience with us while we're working through a software update. We appreciate your patience this week on commission processing, as there's a lot of pressure on the system with the sheer amount of quantity within the system, as well as a system transition. Appreciate your patience this time, as our commission processing this week alone will take a tad longer, and those that need prioritization, we should understand who you are and what we're doing to help you get your money this week for those that need it. Cool. All right, what is winning? Keeping us in perspective. Sharing a few updates for the group. One is the upcoming single family or single party as well as excluded list. I just want to remind the group that this is available. This comes out as a reminder to submit information on Fridays and Mondays. And then on Tuesdays, we go through to scrub the list to make sure that what we share back out is within accordance of the guidelines of our MLS and GMAR ethics and standards. But this list is available to the group every single week. There's been a plethora of information as you think about how tight the market is. The access and speed to access of information is vitally important to help you get ahead of the curve within when listings and inventory is coming to the market. So I just wanted to remind the group on that. Next, here's the accepted offer insights for the last 2 weeks since we didn't have a team meeting last week. From a baseline perspective, we have reviewed, since we started tracking this, 795 accepted offers, okay? The average price point of those 795 is $407,000. Just in the last 2 weeks alone, we have reviewed 235 accepted offers. What you can see from the middle column comparing it to the right column, or the left and the right, is there isn't a significant change in terms of the direction of what's getting accepted and what's not. So for perspective, right now, list price to sale price average ratio, the accepted offers that are winning is at about 103%. That's consistent over the last 8 weeks versus the last 2 weeks. Earnest money is still hovering right just under 2%. Inspection contingencies, quite frankly, haven't really changed. It's about a 60-40 split for round math. 60% no, 40% yes. So you can see here, the reason why we're tracking this on a weekly versus a baseline is to see if there's any significant trend changes. Finance deals, cash offers versus finance, 30% of deals are cash right now, 70% are finance, pretty much on par with the baseline. Average down payment of those that are financed is right at around 18%. 17% is the baseline for deals with an appraisal gap. In the last 2 weeks, it was 13%, and you can see the average appraisal gap that has been offered within those deals. So wanted to provide you guys an update on that as we are looking at this data moving forward, because I'm looking for trends so that we see how things might change in that moment. And so that if things do start to alter significantly one way or the other, that we can help you stay ahead of it and helping you identify both on the listing side and the sell and the buyer side, how you help win deals. Cool. All right. So we're sitting here in June. It's June 4th. And we want to think about where you are within your year. Okay. And it's so oftentimes that I find people are challenged because they're working in their business that they forget sometimes to take a deep breath in the middle of the year to work on their business. Okay. And when you're in the middle of the rat race and you're in the middle of accepted offer showing, listing appointment, this, that, and the other, it is incredibly healthy for you to take a moment of pause and take a deep breath and understand where it is that you are in order for you to achieve where it is that you desire to go. Okay. And as I've kind of alluded to, although in a calendar year, June represents that we're 50% of the way through the year, and 90 days out, if you think about the life cycle of deal flow, we'll be in August, which is 70% of the deals, or 70% of the way through the calendar year. However, based on transactional volume, by the end of August, almost 80% of the year will be complete. And this is many times in the fall when I challenge you guys to think about your first and second quarter. There isn't enough deal flow in the fourth quarter to make up for a soft first and second quarter. And so the reason why I challenge you in the month of June is, are you taking a moment to take a deep breath to work on your business instead of functionally working in it and losing track of what may have gotten to where you are or where you need to course correct to where you want to go? And there's a great model for the ways in that you can do that in the month of June. And it's the model of reset. Reflect and decide your future. E is evaluate your priorities. S is simplify, not overcomplicate. E is establish a plan. T is time. How are you spending it? Okay. And as you reflect, you have to understand and get clear as to how you got here. Okay. The differentiator of successful people is the art of reflection. Again, the challenge of, are you working on your business versus working in your business? And facts tracks to success and buffer lost grounds during time of crisis, because reflection takes notice of how you got to where you are today, right? And the times in which that you should be reflecting are monthly, mid-year, achievement at year end. Again, seek clarity as to where you are sitting here in June. E, evaluate is, are you pursuing the right goals? In June, knowing that we're 76% of the way through the year, if you think about what it could be pending, included in that is being critical and honest as to what worked and what didn't. If you were off track in the first 2 quarters of the year, what do you need to do to radically change your business within the quarters 3 and quarter 4 to get you back on track? Okay. And the questions you ask yourself are my activities supporting me and my goals? What are my distractions to my important work? Do my goals make sense, and have my priorities changed? If your priorities have changed, that's cool. Reflect on that and understand what that looks like. If your priorities haven't changed, it's being understanding as to where you are and what you want to do and evaluating what it is that you need to change. S in reset is simplify instead of overcomplicate. The knee-jerk reaction in this is to do more. And doing more creates more burnout and giving up altogether. You feel as if your wheels are spinning in mud, you're a hamster wheel, you can't figure it out. Simplify what you can say no to in order to say yes. And understanding is what's most important in identifying the 20% of your activities that deliver 80% of your results. Because not everything you do equally matters. So what can you eliminate or invest more time in the right activities? Someone challenged me recently and said, if you're going to do something different, what are you saying no to in order to say yes to something else? If you're going to do something different, what are you saying no to in order to say yes to something else? E within reset is establishing a plan. Break down your goals, utilize your 411s or a 135s. If you don't know what that is, reach out to a leadership team member. We're happy to help you sit down with you and understand what that looks like. Successful people are clear on their priorities. They act in order of priorities. They do it. It's not a to-do list, it's a success list and understanding their 80-20. Within reset is time. When your priorities are clear, you protect your time. Life does not simplify the moment you simplify your focus. Your priorities are clear and you protect your time. You control your calendar does not control you. Right? Take a moment to reflect on how you're spending your time. What is the 20% of your activities that deliver 80% of results? Because if you want extraordinary results, you have to take a pulse on where you stand. Are you on track? Are you feeling behind or hopeless? Because where you are and where you're going, you need clarity too. Where you are and where you're going, you need clarity too. So if you think about reset and where we are in June, I would encourage you to take some time this week, next week, to work on your business. Don't lose sight of working in your business. Okay? Take a moment to reflect on where it is that you are and where it is that you want to go in order to get clarity and to protect your most important activities. And the reason why I share this with you is a moment of perspective. Last year, I shared this with you guys 2 weeks ago. This is where we stood in terms of the market. Last year in 2023. So far in 2024, here is where the market stands. The question is, are you working at pace or above pace of the market, or are you behind pace of the market? Just because you're up doesn't mean that you're gaining ground. That perspective is important. So one of the things I like to challenge you with is what Nike does really, really well. Okay. And if you think about Nike at the highest level, they are very good at simplifying their message, and they are consistent in their approach, and they take big risks to communicate a very consistent message. And when I worked at Miller for a long time in marketing and strategy, we would study Nike's ability to storytell at a really, really high level across all mediums of marketing. Nike has an unbelievable ability to consistently communicate a message. And how they communicate that message is how it shows up in their marketing. And I would argue with you, there's been very few companies. You can think of Apple, you can think of Tesla, quite frankly, you can think of a variety of companies on two hands that have had the arc in terms of their ability to communicate a very clear and consistent message that has a clear priority other than Nike. And I use Nike as an example because their market share dominance over number 2 Adidas is so significant and growing because of their ability to clearly and consistently communicate a message. So I want to show it to you 2 examples of how that showed up recently. Okay. How many of you have been paying attention to the Caitlin Clark craze? Unless you're living under a rock, right? Well, for those of you who don't know, yes. Caitlin Clark broke the NCAA scoring record back in March, okay? And she has radically transcended women's basketball in a way that no other person simply has in a short amount of time. But I want to go back to a story in March where Caitlin broke the NCAA scoring record, okay? Anybody know how she did it? She did it from what the kids call a logo 3. Okay. She took almost a half-court shot to break the record, and it was like in the first quarter of the game. And with the advent of NIL within the college space, Caitlin Clark is also a Nike athlete. Okay. The moment she broke the record, Nike was prepared with a marketing campaign. And I'll show you one example of how that lived in Iowa City. They did these billboards off the side of buildings, okay? And the picture on the left is the picture of her shot from the logo 3 that broke the record. And the picture on the right is a picture of a basketball hoop that says that was never a long shot with simply the Nike logo, the Iowa Hawkeye logo, and it was about 2 to 3 blocks down the street from where the image on the left stands. And the reason why I share that with you is I find the message to be incredibly simplistic. And it isn't all about the Nike swoosh or just do it or all the other things. It's about the moment and captivating the moment. And one of the things I would challenge the group with, and as you think about your marketing strategies and how you clearly communicate or articulate who you are as a person in terms of your ethos and how you serve your clients, is how does that show up across the mediums in which you market? Okay. The reason why I challenge you with that is I think our industry suffers from a lot of the same. And very few are able to cut through the clutter. And if you pay attention to Nike, Phil Knight is one of the most profound founders. And he wrote an incredible book called Shoe Dog. If you haven't read it and you're interested in business books and how someone took a gamble to build their business, Shoe Dog is an incredible book. It's Phil Knight's memoir of how he started the business. And it basically talks about this arc and how he did it, and basically leveraged his entire life in through 80s and 90s until it finally started paying off because he was consistent over time. Okay. And that's my challenge to you in this whole reset is, can you be consistent over time? And how are you changing what it is that you do, and how do you clearly communicate what it is that you do in a way that differentiates yourselves? Because the average person in Southeastern Wisconsin knows 12 real estate agents. Okay. And this was the manifest that Phil Knight came out with, 1 through 10. These are the things that we will do in order to continue to grow our business, and we will be consistent in that approach. Another example of how this shows up is I'll show you this is one of their TV commercials. And here's what I want you to pay attention to. How many times you see the Nike logo, or how many times they say just do it. Okay. And this is an example from when Serena Williams retired recently. I'm a tennis nut. For those of you who don't know, I play a ton of tennis. So this ad hit home with me, but I always look at it from the lens of how do we take this effective aspect of storytelling into what it is that we do within real estate.
This is you at the US Open. This is you. This service motion. Boom! Very good. Keep that perfect service motion you have. Right there. Good. Boom! Switch to the backhand. Lean into it. Just follow through. Take the net. Nice try. Make sure you're controlling that ball on every shot. There you go. Very good. Back. Put it away. Be tough, just like you want to win. Just like you at the US Open. Right there. This is you. Very good, Serena Williams.
So here's my challenge to you in the back half of the year.
This is you at the...
Is so many of us are quite frankly ineffective at telling the story of how we transform people's lives through the avenue that we do it through in real estate. How do you take examples of outside our industry and apply it, what it is that they do effectively, into who you are and how you communicate with your people? And it's important to pay attention as to what other people do. I've talked about Nike. I've talked about Gruber, one call, that's all. You talked about a variety of different examples, and you have to find the inspiration outside of our industry to then say, how am I communicating effectively to our industry? And I think Nike does it better than most, right? And I love the 2 examples, whether it's the Serena Williams commercial or whether it's the Caitlin Clark billboard in downtown Iowa City. Is how do you cut through the clutter in an incredibly competitive environment, because you have the ability to tell incredible stories. And I think that we can do better at elevating the stories we tell. Make sense? So we're in June, not to scare you, but we're 76% of the way through the year. It's time to take a reset as to where you are and where you desire to go, and what big bets do you need to do, or how do you clearly and consistently communicate your value over time. Instead of chasing shiny objects, How do you do that over time so that you can see the J curve or the hockey stick curve so similarly to what Nike has done over the last 30 to 40 years? Cool. All right. So moving on. Training and education upcoming, just as a heads up, we have 10 spots left for James Shaw tomorrow in Milwaukee. It is down at the War Memorial downtown. There are 10 seats left. If you'd like to participate, feel free to register today. I will be taking notes and making sure that we have great recap for the group as well. But James, as you saw from team meeting 2 weeks ago, is an incredible implementer of systems and models and helping you think about your business differently. And how do you do things really, really well at a high level consistently over time? Make sense? So feel free to join us tomorrow. All right, with that, I'm flipping it over to Kadi, who's taking us to training and education.
All right, thank you. Good morning. June calendar is up on the website. Take a look at that. We've got some really great stuff going on this week, a lot of stuff to help you in terms of your marketing. So I'll let Lindsay get into that in a little bit. But if you want to go to the next slide, the most important training in terms of how you get paid is going to be learning that new system. So the way in which you used to submit things for commission checks is changing a little bit. So there's 3 different trainings, as well as Lindsay's also working on a video. She's going to get uploaded for you all too. So admin teams, agents, everyone take a look. It's not complicated, but it is changing. So make sure to be clued into how that's going to change on the 13th, 17th, 18th, and a video. The next slide, Charlie, is an opportunity in person, both on the 13th at the Southwest office and on the 20th at Innovation. We have the opportunity to hear from Eric. Eric is going to be talking all about how understanding who you're communicating with, the different personality traits you meet, the energy you put out, the mirror and matching, how to really change your communication to be different. Again, like Nike, how are we using our words and picking up what other people are putting out to be more effective in the way in which we're email marketing, face-to-face, you name it, how to kind of pick up on some of those clues and things that others are giving you to get more leads, work the leads, and close the leads. So in-person only opportunities on the 13th and the 20th. After that, we have 3 opportunities to really help you grow your profit share. So we shared profit share numbers last month. In April alone, we paid out $93,000 in profit share. And year to date, $175,000 just in Milwaukee, Keller Williams, Milwaukee. A lot of you were like, oh my God, how do I get involved in that? All of these next things, if you're not one to cold call, do hardcore recruiting, it's all about building relationships. If it's something you want to be intentional about, remember that any of the events that we do, feel free to bring a co-broke, invite someone to come with you, even if it's just team meeting. There's a lot of guests at every team meeting that you might not even know are guests. One in specific that we're hosting to really help you all in joining your profit share and growing your profit share tree, because you were like, I don't know how to do this. We're like, great, let's throw a huge party. So we're having a ladies' day. Sorry, guys, we'll do something for you guys coming up. We're doing a ladies' day off at Holy Hill Ski Club on June 17th from 10 to 2. It's going to be really fun. We're going to have a coffee truck. We're going to have yoga. We're going to have some shopping, permanent jewelry, a flower bar, cocktails, all kinds of stuff. So this is a really easy reach out to invite another co-broke or someone who's interested in the industry. If you are a male and you know someone who'd want to come, reach out to a TL. We're happy to be their guest and to host them, or a female from leadership, to show them a good time and connect them with the community. So permanent jewelry, Andy wants to know, they solder it on so it doesn't have a clasp, so it stays on until it falls off. It's all the rage. It said there was an RSVP that ended last week. The link is open. If you wanted to come and you haven't RSVP'd, you can still RSVP or reach out to someone on leadership. All right, the next slide is another really great opportunity to bring other people in the industry, bring friends. It's going to be super fun. If you know Cream City, they know how to have a good time. Bring your family, anyone you want. Please use the QR code to RSVP so they know how much food and drinks and everything to bring. It's Wednesday, June 12th. It's from 4 to 7 at Estabrook Park in the picnic area 6. It says bring whoever you want. It's a great opportunity too, to reach out to clients and, leverage an opportunity to provide back to your spheres too. So it's going to be fun. Live music. We'll see you there. This is my favorite training we do. It's wonderful always for new agents, but this is also something that is really great to invite someone else to. I think that a lot of times we don't let you know that you can bring guests or invite guests to participate in all of Ignite or just a portion of Ignite. So for those who are newer to our world, Ignite is an incredible, almost boot camp style training that's taught by all of the top agents within our office. So they're going to carry you through everything from how to get a client to how to cultivate a client to how to work with a buyer and a seller, and hear from how others who have come before you and have learned the hard way to learn from them and maybe not stumble as much as they did. So it's my absolute favorite training. We do it only twice a year. It's starting July 10th. We're doing it in the Southwest office this time, so there'll be plenty of parking for everybody who got tickets when we did it in Whitefish Bay last time. It's free. Register. Come to some, come to all of them. Come to the ones that speak to you. Super excited about Ignite. So thanks to everyone who's putting that on and teaching. That's July 10th in Southwest. We do have some spaces for some instructors too. So if you want to pour back and you want to teach, please reach out to myself or Kathleen, and we can work through the dates that are still open for that.
Sweet. Thanks, Cotty. With that, we're flipping it over to Vranik. Little tech and marketing updates for the group.
All right. Good morning, all. So since June is peak season, and I know a lot of you have had some really incredible listings lately, I just wanted to touch on some of the listing materials that we offer through our KW Marketing Concierge. And so we offer a variety of different materials, whether it's listing brochures, listing flyers, just listed, just sold postcards, social media posts. We have all of those available through the Marketing Concierge. So this is all meant to, allow you to have that extra leverage so that you can focus more on your business, on staging that listing, on, communicating with your clients and doing other things. Let us handle the marketing materials. And so this is, of course, on our kwrealtymke.com website. When you click into the Marketing Concierge, you'll see all of these materials available on there. And you have a couple of different options. We also, we have a list to close package, and basically that gets you everything. And when you fill that out, you're just providing us all of the information, the link to the property photos, and we'll put all of those materials together for you. We also have a la carte options. So if you just need a listing brochure, you can submit that order request and we'll put that together. And like everything that's in the Marketing Concierge, all of the digital materials are 100% free. We also work with some incredible print partners. They're all local near each one of the market centers. And they'll put together and print some really great materials. We do have actual printed examples in the offices for you to take a look at and view how those are printed. So professional looking materials, they're great if you need to impress your seller with and go that extra mile. And so we'll have these available in the offices. North Shore office, I've got some new materials printed out if you want to check these out after team meeting. And Tosa will have some new materials in the offices this week. Lake Country, you guys have Village Graphics right down the road. And there's an entire marketing wall with materials that you can take a look at and view. And just some more examples there. So again, leverage the KW Marketing Concierge for your listing materials. And again, just impress your sellers. And if you've got a really great listing, these are also really great to put in your listing presentation as well.
Our goal of it is to do it for you.
Yes.
Create leverage, alleviate time. As we talk about reset and focusing on your 20%, your 20% is not spent in spaces like this. If you don't have leverage within your life, leverage Lindsay. Leverage Lindsay.
Yes, and I'm probably going to talk about this quote quite a bit, but what was the previous slide? Oh, yep. So I talked about this a few times, but I just like to reiterate this because I think it's so important as you're thinking through your marketing and your branding and anything that you put out there. Personal branding is simply the digitization of your reputation. How are these materials representing you and your business? So just keep that in mind. I've talked about this as well. We have new updated listing and buyer presentations that are completely customized to you or your team. Shout out to Levine Realty Group. They just celebrated their 1-year anniversary. So we customized these entirely for the team, and they turned out awesome. They did a really, really cool photo shoot. And so we were really happy to put these together for them. So these are available, of course, through the Marketing Concierge. All right, we are, I think on week 4 or 5 of our social branding boot camp. This week, we have a very special guest. Mr. Willis Love is going to be teaching us how to do a reel through social media. So it'll be really, really fun. We actually did a similar training last year and it was fun. So I'm really happy to be doing something again this year. So Willis is going to be in the innovation office in Tosa this Thursday, June 6th at 11 o'clock. We do record these. So there is that Zoom option if you can't make it in person. So we've got some really great topics coming up in the month of June, as you can see. And then finally, we have our Realtor Refresh Headshot Day next week, Wednesday, June 12th from 10 to 2. You guys, we only have 3 slots left. So if you need a new headshot, if you need some new marketing materials with that new headshot, feel free to sign up using that QR code on the screen there. Again, we only have 3 slots left. So take advantage. You get a free headshot and free marketing materials as well. So that's at Lakeshore Commons at JSG's listing in Oak Creek. And that's all I got. Thank you.
All right, with that, I'm pulling up Lieutenant Steph, who has a few important compliance updates for the group as we're sitting here in the middle of June. Steph?
I think Charlie strategically put us last to close it out with the most exciting stuff, as always, with the compliance updates. First up, this has now become a bit of a trend for us. Just want you guys to be beware of subject to offer. So this is an example of a quote unquote offer that was received by one of our sellers. And this is just another investor gimmick. Basically, they are trying to assume a mortgage for a seller and passing it off as a transfer of ownership, a legitimate sale. It's it can be considered legitimate, but it's next slide I will show you. Is that
Click on the slides.
oh, I'm sorry. If this quote unquote buyer assumes a mortgage and takes over payments, if they default, it automatically is transferred back to the seller. So it's not a true ownership transfer. The pre-existing debt remains under the name of the seller. And to quote Peter Zaroff, our attorney, this is just a sloppy mess. So we just want to make sure you guys are vigilant and are aware that this practice is happening. So your seller may receive an offer directly from a buyer, but then you also as a listing agent, we're hearing listing agents are fielding requests, fielding these phone calls from investors as well. So just want to make you guys aware. Yes, ma'am.
If I heard you correctly, it's not illegal, but it's
Huge risk.
Huge risk seller. The buyer defaults. Yes, and it goes back to the seller. So not wise. And then Joan and I just really wanted to comment and talk a little bit about moving too fast in this market. Kind of wanted to keep this lighthearted a bit. And Joan quotes this often, but you're not a true realtor until you have to buy a water heater. Or in the case of Joan, she had to buy an entire French drain system once for a client. So we had to field a couple calls actually on the same day a couple weeks ago, where both of our agents in question just didn't take the time to read through an offer properly, right? And before it was accepted, it and inadvertently cost our sellers some money, and now we're going to be making up for it with commission. So, we've all had to, buy a home warranty. I feel like that's the biggest example of things that we miss on a closing statement. But just wanted to remind you guys, just really take it slow. We're moving really fast. We just do need to make sure that we're doing our duty for our clients and taking time to be slow with the details, read through everything carefully, and protect our clients and our commissions and our dollars. All right, and then I have purposefully not brought this up until this month. Now that we're kind of slowing down a bit, now we can focus on getting our continuing education credits out of the way. It is 2024, so that means that we have to complete our CE courses by December 14th and renew our licenses with the DSPS by December 14th. We will be reminding you guys often, beginning probably October, but just want to get this on your radar. Best bet is to take the courses through the WRA. And to get there, you're going to go to your WRA home screen, go to the continuing education tab, go right to real estate CE. And then we just suggest doing the on-demand version of the classes. So, and this applies to everybody. So even if you were just licensed within this past month, you do need to complete the continuing education courses. All right, more reminders to come. Thank you.
So this is like your biannual reminder where I come and sit down in January and we have the list of those that don't do their continuing ed because they forget. And then it shocks me how many people are like, it's a continuing ed year. I had no idea. And I'm like, oh, bummer, your MLS was shut off because you didn't do your responsibilities. Isn't that? So don't be that person in January that's surprised that their MLS gets shuts off. Just get it done when you're, I don't know, sitting on the boat or sitting in your backyard or whatever you need to do. Just go get it done quick. Cool. All right. I'll leave you with this. What story are you consistently communicating and clearly, effectively telling your story or your client's stories? You have stories all around you. You help and serve people every day. People are complex and people have unique stories. How you do that consistently over time, and using Nike as an example, take a moment to reset where you are in June. Take a moment to reset where you are in June. Look at what it is that you're doing. Go through the red light, green light exercise, and then think about what you can do to improve your business in the back half of the year in order to push yourself and advance yourself into 2025 on the best foot forward. And it starts now. Cool? Guys, it's a beautiful day in Milwaukee. Thanks for showing up. If you need anything, our team is here to serve you. Have a great day, guys. Thanks.